Hello, and welcome to another edition of Dr. Ced Says. I am Dr. Cedric Wood, and again, I'm just going to be bringing you interesting information to you. Sometimes I bring to you information about world politics, and sometimes I just bring psychological concepts. Today, I'm going to bring a psychological concept, so this shouldn't be any more than a few minutes. You can see behind me my new 9 ego states of transactional analysis. That I created from Dr. Eric Berne, who created transactional analysis. But the book that I love the most is I'm Okay, You're Okay. Parent, adult, child. Everything is backwards on the camera. And I turned that into 9. Real quick, let's go over them. 3 parent ego states: egopathic parent, critical parent, nurturing parent. Both nurturing and critical are in the literature. And usually there's only the adult. But I'd say there's 3 adult ego states. The one down here, I called it reality-based, but I call it the ego state where I'm looking to gain information. I'm trying to obtain it because I'm curious, or I'm trying to give useful information. That's always important. Or maybe making an observation about something. Number 5 is when someone's coming at me upset, I respond calmly and I'm empathic and I'm curious. But there's another side to number 5, and that is when someone says, I got the job done. Your job in number 5 is to say, oh, well, good for you. You worked hard. You got that done, and it looks so good. Wow. Thank you for offering to bring that over to me. All these kind words of appreciation. We've got to teach the kids of America, Texas is where I'm at, how to talk that way. So many people don't have those words. They don't have a good solid number 5. Number 6 is when someone's really coming at you angry and you take it and you know how to respond calmly to help them calm down. Or someone's in big trouble and you're willing to extend yourself to go over there and pull them out of that burning car or what have you. That's the number 6 super adult, nurturing adult. And the 3 down here are the carefree child. That's in the literature. The wounded child. Van Joyne says we don't have that in TA, but we certainly have it in all the John Bradshaw books and a number of other great thinkers and authors. But in general, TA just has that hurt child that's in us. Any emotion, all the emotions are in there. And I'd like to add this child here, the spoiled, indulged child who starts feeling entitled. And then when you don't give him or her what they want, they become indignant. How dare you not give me what I want? Nobody likes to be around somebody like that. Here's what I'm going to cover today. I'm going to call it the number 4-7 dilemma. Because so often we come at somebody from our number 4. Good, you're in your adult. Let's say you ask somebody a question. Well, why are you going to do that? Or you give information. Well, you know that's not going to work when you have it installed in that way. Or you make an observation like, well, it looks like that by the time you get done with all that work, it's probably going to be too late for you to turn it in. I'm just observing something. The problem here is the other person hears that there's a little bit of nurturing parent in your words. It's not pure adult. So we have to become aware, when am I coming at somebody from my 4-7? It seems very adult and mature and calm. There's not a lot of emotion. It's not high criticism, but there's a little bit of a you should, or the situation should be this way, or could be better. Now what happens is the other person picks up on the parent part of it. We want them just to hear us being helpful, just in our adult, giving useful information. But so often, the other person will have that. If you go into the books, you'll see the arrow being drawn down to the other person's child, which means they don't feel comfortable with your suggestion or your observation or the question you're answering. Why? Because there's quite a bit of parent in that. So we have to start realizing how we trigger other people's feelings. Even though we're half in our adult, we're half in our parent too. So what happens is the line goes down, it hurts the other people, and then it goes up into their parent, and they might come back at us from their critical parent. Well, what do you know about this? What do you mean I won't be able to get it done? How many times have you finished a project like this? And we're so taken aback. It's like, whoa, I'm just trying to be helpful. There's no reason to become upset. And in that moment, we feel innocent. And we need to set a boundary. And we need to let the other person know that they need to calm down, right? And so them coming at us from that way triggers our hurt feelings, and we fly up into our parent, not just half nurturing parent, but all the way maybe even into critical parent. And that's so often the beginning of so many arguments between couples, family members, teacher to student, or maybe coworkers. That's how it begins. Is the person over here, I would call it the A person in my conflict model. You've seen me go over that. The A person starts off with something that is pretty innocent. I'm just making a comment about the work you're doing, the project you're working on, but they don't recognize that there's a little bit of parent in the attitude or the tone of the words. And if we'll learn to hear that in ourselves, we won't be surprised when the other person doesn't respond in their adult and say, oh, is that right? I won't be, oh, okay. Thank you for that information. Or the answer to your question is this or that. And then we can go from there. So often the parent triggers the child over here. It triggers their parent, and they come back at us. And so this actually happened to me yesterday. And when I recognized that I'd done that, when the guy came back at me with the kind of an attitude like settle down, I was just like, okay. Because I knew that I had triggered it. He actually began it. It gets kind of complicated. Somebody did something, innocent A. His response had quite a bit of, his B2 response had quite a bit of parent in it. And so I was triggered. I set a bit of a boundary, but I did it. Guess where that comes from? My parent. And as soon after I did that, I recognized, okay, that didn't come from my adult. And so sure enough, it triggered a parent comeback a few minutes later, and I just accepted it because I was partially responsible for triggering that. We would love for other people to be innocent and not do anything wrong. Forget that. Give up. They're going to come at you from their parent in their A1. They're going to respond to you if you say something to them in your B2 in their A3. You have to go back to the conflict model in their parent. And so you have to own it. My low cap is listen to what they say, own what part you can, have compassion for their hurt feelings, and in another scenario, you might even say, I'm sorry. And you go, it won't get to the P for plan. That's usually in relationships that you are in, not temporary work relationships. But that's the total summary of my 4-7 dilemma. Because if we don't learn that, we'll walk away saying, well, that person was such a jerk. He got mad at me. Yes, but what did you do first? And you might say, well, yeah, I did that, but I was responding to what he did first. Okay, but what did you do before that? I mean, it just, a long conversation, you could just go back and back and back. The point of this presentation today is try to own it when you responded back in your parent rather than your quiet, calm, caring, curious, kind, cooperative adult. Your number 5 adult. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that helps you in your relationships. This is Dr. Cedric Wood coming at you from Dallas, Texas, and I hope to talk to you soon. 214-394-4040. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.